my eating disorder is real bad right now. I'm basically back to a pure liquid diet. So I'm waiting for insurance to kick in so I can be retested, I guess, or try and see a professional and get this sorted out. I'm really just tempted at this point in my life, which sucks, but I'm really tempted to just see if they can give me a feeding tube. I don't want that, because if I can be fixed for this eating disorder, I think I'd be a lot happier, because I love food. I love eating, I love drinking, I just physically can't, and that sucks. It really does suck, but I want to be able to eat for once in my life and not be afraid. For those of you who don't know, I have a really rare type of dysphagia, which is the fear of swallowing, or fear of choking, I suppose, where I can't eat or drink without a fear that I'm gonna like choke to death. And I know that sounds really stupid because I've never choked in my life. And nothing ever triggered it. Like, I've never had it happen to me. I swallowed a cherry pit once, but I was like 22. And I've had this problem since I was 3. I also split my head open when I was 3, and ever since then I've had excruciating migraines. So it could be related, I don't know. But the gist of it is I can swallow just fine. Like, I can drink liquids, no problem. I can't like chug it, but I can drink it. Anything that gets thicker than water, like a milkshake or like melted ice cream, I have to chew. I have to chew yogurt, I have to chew pudding, I have to chew some kind of broths because they have like pieces in it, like particles. Whenever I eat food, it has to be water in my mouth or I can't swallow it. And you're probably like, well, that's not that bad, but here's the thing is a lot of foods don't break down entirely into water. Like bacon or chicken, a lot of vegetables, most fruits like oranges, a lot of things just leave little particles on your tongue no matter how much you chew, and those little particles is what my brain is afraid I'm going to choke on. So sometimes it's just hard for me to eat. I have to like pull the front of my throat, like as if that's going to fucking help, because it tricks my brain to going, oh, your throat's much bigger than you think it is. And last year, shortly after I got my first booster shot, I was incapable of even drinking water. I had to take like the very tip of a spoon, and that was basically as much water as I could have. And even then I had to like slosh it around in my mouth. I had to chew. It was really bad. I've never had to spit food out because I couldn't swallow it before. And I was like, is this like a side effect of the booster? Because I've had all 4 of my COVID shots so far, and the first 2, like the main doses, I was fine. So I'm like, maybe it's just like a weird side effect. Maybe it'll go away, and it didn't go away. I got my booster in May, I believe, and I wasn't able to actually eat until about September. And it's still very slow going. I have to take like the tiniest of bites. But the thing is, I was fine. Like for a while, I could actually kind of eat again. And now, about 2 weeks ago, I'm incapable of eating once more. To put it in perspective, take honeycomb cereal, like take 2 or 3 of those on a spoon. And then now just put that in your mouth and chew it. And that takes you like what? 6, 7 bites? Chews, sorry. And you can swallow it, right? That is too much food in my mouth. Like that is way too much. I cannot do that. And it sucks because like 2 weeks ago, I was eating fine. I had like burgers, I could eat tacos, I could eat cereal and bread, and I made a sandwich. and it was a good sandwich. It was a fluffernutter sandwich. And now I can't eat again. So we went to the vet the other day. If you've ever seen that gif of SpongeBob when Squidward tries a Krabby Patty and he takes like the tiniest piece of meat with the front of his teeth, that's literally the bite I took of my husband's like croissant sandwich. And we were in traffic, and so I couldn't spit it out. And I'm just sitting there literally like remembering how to breathe and, you know, telling myself, hey, you can breathe in and out, like you're not choking, you're fine, you can do this, you can swallow it, there's literally like nothing in your mouth. And I started like tearing up, I started having a panic attack, which just made my throat close up worse. Like it's a fucking nightmare. And whoa, hi, you got a cold nose. And I remember I went to the doctor for it, and they checked me out and they said, your swallowing is fine. It's psychological. Like, well, no shit, but like, why? What can I do to fix it? And they're just like, you need to change the way you think about food. And I'm like, the fuck does that mean? And they're like, you know, CBT, like you just change the way you think about things, and like you'll fix yourself, no problem. So that was a fucking lie. But like today I had half of a salad, and I'm like, okay, I was taking very, very tiny bites. And then this morning my husband got me like a little packet of bacon. And these are like tiny pieces of bacon. And each piece of bacon I had to take like 4 bites of. And then that was too much bacon. That was too much bacon for me to handle. So, it just sucks. It really does. So my only option now is to see an ENT, which is a ears, nose, throat specialist. Or a speech therapist. The kind that generally work with stroke victims. And what they're going to probably do is teach me a new technique on how to swallow food. Which sounds really stupid, because eating is like, it's instinct. Like, you don't need to think about it. You don't need to do anything. You put something in your mouth, you chew it, you swallow it. You put water in your mouth, you swallow it. Like, that's it. Somewhere in my brain, those steps are too complicated. I can't figure it out. I know you chew, and then as you swallow, you basically like close your windpipe or whatever. Like that takes like not even a second to do, and your body does it for you. And my body's like, fuck if I know, man. I can't figure it out either. So like even if I drink, if I take like the first swallow, I'm like, okay, cool. And then sometimes I have to like chew that first swallow, and then I take another sip and chew that one, and then take another sip. And then sometimes I can take like 2, 3, 4 swallows in a row, and then my brain's like, wait, that's too many nutrients. We need to slow this shit down. And then like I forget the steps on how to swallow. And the way I tried to describe it before was when there's food in my mouth and like I'm ready to swallow, my body's not. My body will literally close up my throat. And I'm like, okay. I literally have to like exhale until I have no air, until like my lungs hurt. And then in that panic of, oh shit, I can't breathe, I can swallow my food. And you're like, okay, well, it works, right? No. Because sometimes when I'm out of oxygen like that, my brain's like, oh fuck, we're choking. And I literally have to like inhale and get a full chest of air, and then chew as fast as I can, even if it's water in my mouth, until I'm out of air, and hope that I can swallow that time. And sometimes that time is too scary. And my brain's like, oh fuck, we can't do it this time either. And it's like, well, what am I doing? How do you not know how to do this? I'm 30 years old and we haven't figured it out. Like, it's tiring. It's stressful, and it's hard to explain it to people who don't have it. getting like emotional. I'm sorry. It's 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 complicated. Like I can't go out to eat with people. I can't just go get a coffee, or, you know, if someone's like, "Hey, we're going to order a pizza. Do you want some?" And even if I'm hungry, which I'm always fucking hungry, I have to say no. Because there's a 90% chance that I can't eat a single slice of pizza. I've been like, my dad's been ordering pizza and I can't have any of it because bread is too dry. Bread is a very hard food for me. And I stole a pepperoni from my husband's pizza and it took me 6 minutes to swallow that pepperoni. And it sucks because it was really good pepperoni. But by the time I got it down, he's like, "Do you want like the tiniest piece of this pizza?" And I had to like, I had to try not to cry because the answer was yes. I really fucking wanted that piece of pizza. And I just couldn't do it. So I had to like sit here and just not think about it and try not to smell it and watch my family get to like eat a whole pizza while I sit there with my water and hope that that sustains me for the next 5 hours. And I mentioned it on my private account on Twitter, but they have these like child-sized servings of like Chef Boyardee's, like little SpaghettiOs and stuff. And whenever I eat things like that, I can only have like 1 or 2 noodles at a time. And my husband got me a lasagna one. And what? If you've never seen the lasagna pieces, they're like the size of a Switch cartridge. Maybe a little bit bigger. And that's too much food for me to put in my mouth because it's too much to my brain. And I've always had like a small mouth, like that's fine. I just have like a small mouth and my teeth are doing their best to fit in there. So it just kind of feels like I'm claustrophobic all the time. And the thing that sucks the most about being unable to eat is the fact that you have to eat so often. You got to eat like 3 times a day. Some people can live off 2. I usually get like 1 meal a day and sometimes some snacks. And I have some yogurts downstairs and I got some puddings. And it's not gonna sustain me. It's not. Like, it's food. It's enough to like stop me from being too hungry, but it doesn't fill me up. Like, nothing fills me up because I can't eat enough food. And I'm basically on what they call a level 1 diet. And let me just tell you the foods that I'm allowed to eat. Okay. So, level 1, I'm just gonna show you guys this. Let me see. This is probably gonna duplicate twice. Give me 1 second. Nope, that's the wrong one. Hold on. I did this earlier too. Yeah, this is gonna duplicate. Oh, no. Nope, it won't. Okay. Let me just put this into perspective real quick. Okay. This right here, this is all I can eat. Okay. Let me zoom this in for you so you can, oops, so you can see. This is all I can eat. Pureed breads, puddings, custards, yogurts, pureed desserts, pureed fruits, pureed meats, souffles, well-moistened mashed potatoes. And by that, they mean like straight up a shit ton of gravy or add an extra milk until it's basically soup. Pureed soups, pureed vegetables without lumps, chunks, or seeds. So basically a liquid diet. It is important to avoid other foods, including non-pureed breads, so bread, cakes, sandwiches, any kind of like wheat, any cereal with lumps, so any cereal, cookies, cakes, or pastries, whole fruits of any kind, non-pureed meats, beans, or cheeses. You can't have scrambled, fried, or hard-boiled eggs, non-pureed potatoes, pasta or rice, non-pureed soups, non-pureed vegetables, seeds, nuts, or chewy candies. I just want you to think about that because that's like 100% of a normal human diet. Okay, you can't have meats or eggs or vegetables or fruits. You can't have anything unless it's been in the blender for like 30 minutes. I can help about your questions about COVID. No, thank you. So yeah. Don't change your foods or liquids, even if your swallowing gets better. Do swallowing exercises as advised, which I have done, and they don't actually help, they actually make it worse. Yeah. So, this is St. Luke's. They normally deal with people who've had strokes or cancer of the throat, because when you have a stroke, you kind of forget how to swallow because your brain is so fucked up. And for me, I actually had a tumor in my neck. And originally they thought that my swallowing issue was having issues because of scar tissue in my neck. And then they found out that there's like barely any scar tissue, like not enough to make like a huge lump in my throat. But it sucks. Like there's really nothing you can do about it. Alright, let's see what level 2 is. Mechanically altered, yeah. So this one is a little bit harder for people to eat, which sounds stupid because it's soft bananas, which are like overripe. Most canned and cooked fruits without seeds or skins. So you can't have skins, like no apples, no peaches, no plums. Cooked cereals, so like oatmeal, or moistened dry cereals such as cornflakes. Tender meat moistened with gravy cut into very small pieces. My brother's been making really tasty roasts, and it sucks because pot roast is one of my favorite meats because it's always so fatty and very soft for me to eat. And they've basically just been saving me only the fat so that I can eat something, and I can't eat the fat. You know the thing that you push up to the roof of your mouth and it disappears? Yeah. Soups with easily chewed pieces, soft well-cooked vegetables cut into small pieces, soufflés, well-cooked potatoes, noodles, and dumplings, poached, scrambled, or soft-cooked eggs, cottage cheese, tofu, or well-cooked beans. So it's basically the same as the last diet, except this one has a little bit more texture. And I do use that word very loosely because it's, so. But yeah, non-pureed dry breads, can't eat those. Very coarse cereals, so like Fruit Loops, Special K, normal cereals, which sucks because I really like Raisin Bran. Coarse dry cakes and cookies or any desserts with added dried fruits, seeds, or nuts. Fresh or frozen whole fruit or cooked fruit. Canned pineapple, dry or tough meats, soups with large chunks, raw or barely cooked vegetables. Yeah. So, keep watch for symptoms of aspiration, such as coughing or wheezing during right after eating. I can't swallow unless I go, and even then I can't do it. Too much saliva. Again, I can't swallow food unless it's water. Shortness of breath or tiredness while eating. A wet-sounding voice during or after eating or drinking. Fever 30 to 60 minutes after eating. Take time to make meals that look, smell, and taste good. Add seasonings to your food. Set the table. Even though you can't have certain foods, you can still enjoy eating. There was a time I had to drink like thicket, not actual thicket, but they wanted me to do yeah, call your healthcare provider right away if your swallowing gets worse, unintended weight loss, food comes back up in your mouth, vomiting, or a wet sounding voice after eat. What does that mean? Like phlegmy? But yeah, so I excuse me. I can't have food. I can't eat. I can't drink. I can't do anything. And this sucks because the last time I ate today was 4 p.m. That was my first meal. It is now 1:30 in the morning. And I've had half of a frappe, half of a salad that technically I had to give most to the dogs. Which is great for the dogs. They love salad, but I know he kept trying to steal it. And I have to go eat again. And this sucks because the days where I can eat, like, it's always hard for me to eat, but you still gotta put something in you. I basically have to eat one Ensure or sometimes 2 a day because at least then I get nutrients. And then on top of that, when I can eat, what I used to do was like a bowl of cereal before school would take me like 35 minutes. If I were able to eat right now, like the way I used to be able to when I was like a teenager or like early 20s, when I still had problems eating, but I could, you know, still eat, it'd take me maybe an hour and a half for a sandwich. Depends on the sandwich. Some sandwiches were easier than others. I used to be able to eat like 3 pieces of pizza. I can't do that. And that would take me like an hour. Like things that are easy to eat, they actually say like ice cream is one of the worst things that you can eat if you have dysphagia because it melts and your body isn't used to like that much food / liquid all of a sudden. And dairy is actually very hard to get down because when you have dairy, it makes your saliva really sticky. There's also different kinds of dysphagia. The one I have is otolaryngeal something, which basically means like my throat is fine. I just have issues with the swallow part. Like I can't initiate the swallow on my own. And there's like different ways that you can. They say like tip your head back, tip your head forward, sit up straight, but put your head down to your chest when you swallow. Just stupid shit like that, and it doesn't work for me. But again, like medically, I'm okay. My throat is fine. My chest is fine. The glottis is fine. My everything in my body is okay. I can swallow. My body just won't let me. And it sucks because my family isn't really skinny. Like my family's not like obese, but my family is also like very diabetic and bigger. Like the smallest woman in my family is like a triple D cup. Everyone in my family is like 190 plus. My family loves food. Like that's the thing. My family loves food. Like food is their love language. And I mean, I was sick this year anyway, so I didn't go to Thanksgiving, but Thanksgiving is when like everyone's there. Everyone makes meals, everyone just like has a great time, and I'm just like, I can't eat this. And I'm kind of wondering if I should just start blending my dinner. But I'm kind of worried about that because like when you like chew food, obviously it gets all blended up in your mouth. Like when you eat food, you kind of get like a little bit of everything, and then you like put it in your mouth and you're like, oh, yummy, look at all these flavors, amazing. I don't know if I could like eat food that was blended. Like imagine having like turkey, mashed potatoes, green beans, cranberry sauce, gravy, and then mashing it up into like a puree and then being forced to like eat it with a spoon. It like at that point I think it'd be like a texture thing. Like I'll eat basically anything, or at least I'll try to, but I think that would gross me out. Like real bad. I was watching a video of a guy with dysphagia, and he had dysphagia because he had a stroke. Like he had a legit reason. And when they check you for dysphagia, they do a barium swallow test. And what that is they basically they make you eat and drink. Can I? No. Fine then. Don't. Can I just like get a picture of this? Can I look at the picture, please? Can I look at? Okay. So basically, what they do is. Just for you. Oh, thank you for the subscription, Jewel. Happy 5 months. What they do is they basically make you drink this nasty barium. It's like the texture of a milkshake, allegedly, but really chalky, and they make you drink it. And as you drink it, it shows you your throat, and it shows you your tongue, and all those fun parts, and then it shows like the liquid traveling all the way down your body. And they make you drink this entire cup, and it's really gross, and it's awful. They flavor it, so it's not like the worst thing ever. But they make you drink like a whole cup of it. I'm trying to get a picture. This is someone. Oh, it's okay. Please avoid patient name. All right. Well, their name is on it, but whatever. We're doing this for research, for science. But yeah. So they make you drink this liquid, and they're like, "Okay, you're fine." And then you stand up and you drink it, and you're okay, cool. And then they make you lay on your side, and they give you a straw. And this time, it's not a milkshake. It's like this really thin, syrupy kind of liquid. And they're like, okay, you need to like chug this as fast as you can. And you're like, what? So it's a little bit hard to drink this shit when you can't eat food, when you can't drink any of it. So, and then after this, they make you swallow a pill, and I've never been able to swallow a pill before. So the dude was getting like really mean. He was getting so fucking mean to me. He's like, you need to swallow this pill. And I'm like, I can't do it. He's like, you have to. It's for the test. And I'm like, I can't do it. I don't think you understand. So I drink my cup, and I drank my other cup, and he was just like, yup, you're fine. And I was like, what? So he said I was fine. He said, your throat looks good. You can swallow. Your body is just really stupid. So I was like, okay. So then they're like, all right, next test. And I'm like, okay. And they're like, we're gonna give you an endoscopy. If you knew how to fucking spell it, you dip. And what that basically is they just put you to sleep, and they put a camera down into you. And they're like, yep. So they check your throat hole. Kind of looks like a butthole. It's not. I hope. I don't know. I'm not a doctor. But yeah, so they basically have you lay on your side, and then they knock you out. I actually sleep like this with my arm tucked under like that. It's very comfy. But yeah, they put the camera down your throat, and they check, and they're like, yep, you can do it. So I went under, and the doctor woke me up, and he's like, hey, your throat's gonna hurt because we like shaved off a chunk of your throat, so we could actually put it in for like a biopsy to like make sure you're okay. And I'm like, what? He was not joking. That was like the worst pain for 3 days, because every time you swallowed, like you would swallow, like, you know, it'd go down, and once it got to here, it felt like you were just being stabbed. And I have anxiety, so I have to swallow often, or my body's like, we're gonna choke on our spit and die. So like every 10 seconds I was just being stabbed. But he's like, hey, by the way, you're fine. Like, you can swallow, you just can't eat food for some reason. And I'm like, what the fuck do I do? And he's like, well, I don't know. So when I go back and get my insurance and stuff, I have to probably be retested. I don't know. Like, it makes sense that they gave me the liquid barium swallow. But there's a different kind of barium swallow where they basically coat your food in barium and they make you eat it. And they start real easy. It's like watered down pudding and then applesauce and then like a shredded chicken and like a Teddy Graham. And they just keep going like up in difficulty. And I'm like, that would suck for me because one, I can't eat food. Like, even if it's pudding, that's still gonna take me like 2 minutes for a bite. And secondly, I get nervous when people like, take your time. Don't worry about it. It's okay. And then they have like their little fucking, their little clipboards and they start writing things down. And I'm just sitting there like chewing and trying to breathe and trying not to choke to death. And they're like, it's okay. It's just applesauce. You've had applesauce before. We know you can do it, honey. You can do it. And I'm like, I'm trying. But the applesauce is gray and it tastes weird. And because it's got barium in it, it's got like, it's even thicker. So it's even harder for me to chew it and swallow it. And it's a pain in the ass. It is. I remember the first time I did it, the nurse was very condescending. Because she's like, you know, babies eat this kind of food. You know, if a baby can do it, you can do it. It's okay. You know, it's just applesauce. It's barely anything to chew. You can swallow it. And you want to know the fucky part? When I was younger, my sister and my brother, we would literally swallow macaroni noodles. Like the little Kraft macaroni noodles, like the little tiny ones. We would like take like a fork and we'd put a noodle on each prong of the fork and we'd like suck one off and swallow it and then suck one off and swallow it, and we'd do that until like all four were gone and we'd see who could do it the fastest. And I'm like, I used to be able to do that. I used to be able to like literally eat a pork chop. 2 weeks ago I could eat a burger. Like, it makes no fucking sense. There's no rhyme or reason why my body does this. And they're like, hi, baby. How you feeling? And there's no rhyme or reason for it. Like, I'll be totally fine, and then I'll be on, like, I don't know, halfway through a meal, and my body's like, hey, don't eat that. If you eat that, we're gonna choke and die. And it's like, what? And it's like, oop, too late, closing up your throat, good luck. It's like, no. We just went over this. Like, it's... And it's funny watching videos on dysphagia because it's always like symptoms and it's always like some lady just like holding her throat and coughing, and I'm like, well, kind of. Look at that. Look at that. That's what your throat looks like. That's where my macaroni noodles went. They went home. This lady's awake. Should we tell her?